let's talk a little bit about the fires and the devastation happening in Los Angeles. I first of all want to say that the outpouring of well wishes and the generosity that I know that has been headed to LA has been pretty amazing, and as usual, most of the country, as usual, when something happens bad in America, most of us band together.
Right.
I would say this is the first. So thank you to everybody. This is
LA's. We don't live there, but LA is our home.
Yeah.
Like that's where we grew up. It's like where my whole life started.
without a doubt. This is the first natural disaster that I can remember where there have been people not wishing well.
Yeah.
I've been so blown away by the fuck them, they're rich, by the, you know, let those liberals burn. All that stuff has been so alarming to me.
Yeah.
And first of all, guys, the fires have affected rich and poor.
Yeah.
It's not just one. The people in I know people like the people in Palisades are rich. Some of them are. Some of them are just 80-year-old people who bought houses in the 70s, and they just happened to luck out and buy a house in a community that ended up being a place where wealthy people lived.
Yeah.
The Altadena fires, definitely not rich people.
No.
Definitely not
Not
rich
at all.
people. But even if it was just rich people,
Yeah.
the idea that rich people aren't allowed to be sad. Yo, dude, on a much smaller scale, we've had to move out of a house and leave everything behind.
Mm-hmm.
Not on a smaller scale, meaning less stuff, but
like,
our house didn't burn down, but we did have some things in the house that were super hazardous, and we were just advised, treat it like a fire and leave everything there so you don't take any of that shit with you.
Right.
I literally walked out of that house naked, leaving everything behind in the house, and starting with 0 possessions. You remember that?
Yep.
0 possessions. I walked out in my driveway. I put on sweatpants from Target, a hoodie from Target, shoes from Target, got in our car, and literally started over with 0 things.
Right.
At age, I think,
50.
yeah. It was pretty crazy. So I'm very sympathetic. The difference is I kind of had a choice. I knew it was coming.
Right.
I had a chance to prepare mentally for it. Guys, even if these people are rich, you think about what's in your house. It's your life. It's your memories. It's your family heirlooms. It's things that from your grandparents or from your parents if they're passed away, from your kids' artwork, things that you picked up over your life that mean things to you that you've brought from house to house, that you wanted to hand down, that define who you are, that have your memories and your life in them. Gone. Dude, this is a whole town. The Palisades is not coming back, dude.
No. There's nothing to. It's a whole rebuild.
I can't even imagine how you rebuild an entire town like that. I mean, I don't know enough to know how long that would take, but I know in LA permits are difficult.
And a building, it takes forever because there's so many people.
I know insurance is
Congestion.
difficult. Those streets are so thin.
Yeah.
Who gets to build first? How do you get, if you have 12 contractors building houses on the same street in those small streets, how long does it take to get everybody up and down the hills? All that stuff. Plus getting insurance people out there. I don't even know. But when people like, fuck the rich people or they're all rich, it would be like me saying what happened in North Carolina. And by the way, I'm very sympathetic for the people what happened in North Carolina and them feeling forgotten. There's still thousands of people who are living out of FEMA tents, and those are being taken away by the government, from what I understand. But it's possible for two bad things to be happening at the same time.
100%.
It's also like people are directing their anger towards the people who live in California. It's not the people in California's fault that whatever aid they're getting. It's not their choice.
It's also like you can't be mad at a city coming together, because in North Carolina they did as much as they could, but in LA a lot of LA wasn't affected, so a lot of the community of LA is giving back to their city, and like because it's homegrown, not homegrown, but it's there, it's what's next to them, it's the easiest way for them to give back is to grab their stuff and go. So like
entire town, like Asheville, North Carolina was wiped out
100%.
Like entire towns in North Carolina wiped out, so I completely understand feeling angry and I understand the emotion, but it's misplaced.
100%.
It's misplaced. But in generalizing the people in Los Angeles like that would be like me saying from LA when that stuff was happening in North Carolina, you know, fuck those racist Trumpers. I'm not helping them.
Yeah.
That's a crazy generalization
100%.
to say about a group of people just because they live in a certain region. And even crazier to somehow curse them for having a different belief than me and thinking they don't deserve humanity, grace, compassion, help, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
It's such a bummer. It's such a bummer that we're in a place, not only that, where instead of, there's plenty of time for blame, everybody. If Gavin Newsom and the mayor are at fault, let's get them.
Sure.
If the government is at fault, let's get them. But the fires are still happening.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take whatever that energy is and let's find a way to put the fires out and help people. And then after that, if people were negligent in their jobs, if the city was negligent, if the state was negligent, if the federal government was negligent in some way, let's hold people's feet to the fire. Mm-hmm. But doing it now, during the crisis, is such bullshit to me. And to hear people from out of state just pile on the libtards or the fucking whatever. These are human beings
who are losing everything.
Yeah, dude. This is 100,000 people are in evacuation. 80,000 more are on warning, and these fires are not close to being put out.
No.
I have always believed that tragedy, unfortunately, a lot of times brings out the best in people.
Yep.
Well, I don't know if you remember. You don't remember, but after 9/11, dude, the feel walking around streets, you felt human. You felt humanity in a way with other people. Strangers hugging each other, dude, feeling vulnerable and like you needed to connect.
Right.
And I know that's happening in Los Angeles right now. But the fact that somehow we can't find it in our hearts as a people fuck it. By the way, say you hate the libtards. What about the animals? What about the wildlife? Mm-hmm. Guys, there's other things you need to think about. I think California produces something crazy, like 30% of the produce of fruit.
Oh, yeah, something nuts.
Okay?
Yeah.
The chemicals that are in the sky are about to get rained down into the soil of the fruit and vegetables that you eat. California's economy affects the entire country.
Yeah.
So even if fuck California and fuck the libtards and whatever, the movie stars, and by the way, I totally agree. Would you stop putting out articles, 30 celebrities whose houses, who gives a fuck?
Who gives a fuck?
And by the way, they don't want that either.
No, not at all. They don't want to be blasted online for their house burning down.
Let them fucking deal with it how they deal with it too. You know, somebody got mad at Jamie Lee Curtis when they were like, she doesn't seem upset that her house is burning down, probably because she's got 4 of them. Who gives a fuck? By the way, who gives a fuck? There are so many just people who are affected.
Yeah.
I find it it's such a bummer it's such a bummer.
Yeah.
So I know that I'm gonna give my entire check this week to some charities down in Los Angeles, and you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna give my entire check next week to the people in North Carolina.
Say less.
I'm gonna do that also, and I'm really curious if anybody has any ideas. I have over 1 million Hilton points that, I was like, I'm gonna save these up and take your mom on a bomb ass vacation, but I feel worse and worse about saving up for a vacation
When there are people who don't have a home.
Yes, who can't stay places. So I would love to figure out how to reach out to Hilton. I have over 1 million Hilton points, and what I would love to do is figure out a way to get in touch with Hilton and maybe other people who travel a lot, and see if we can donate it
or like accumulate a bunch to like use it.
And donate it to people who need housing. Now I know Airbnb has been really cool with people in LA. I don't know what the situation is in North Carolina, but I would love to be able to donate this and keep it going throughout the year for disaster, for people who've been displaced. Now the problem is I don't know how you would, I don't know how you would disperse the points. I don't know who would be in charge of all that. I'm not a good enough person to organize that shit. Not good enough, but that's not my skill set. But I think we could get a bunch of people together to donate their points. And I think the amount of points I have at at one of their True hotels is something crazy. It'd be something like 65 nights.
Oh, dude.
All right. And so, if we could get Hilton maybe to match points, but let's do what we can, man, for these people. And I'm as I get older, the idea of being in service is so much more important to me. So yeah, my heart breaks, man. Hey, if you like this podcast you just watched, you're going to love the one I'm popping up in your face right now. Check it out.